The Thursday edition, Matt Chick, Emmanuel Acho, and Jonathan Vilma. We have Week 6. We have 3 top 25 matchups to get to, and one of those is where we start with our Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week preview. Saturday night, 6th-ranked Notre Dame travels to Blacksburg to take on the 24th-ranked Hokies of Virginia Tech on ABC Primetime. It's the second-ever meeting in the series. How about that quarterback matchup? That's one to watch. Ian Book giving Notre Dame the look of a contender. Meanwhile, the Hokies coming off a great performance out of Ryan Willis, former Kansas quarterback. Now the quarterback at Virginia Tech. Great performance against Duke. Let's begin there with first down of our 4 downs. It's the game in Blacksburg. We'll begin with you, Emmanuel. Is this the toughest challenge for Notre Dame for the rest of the season?
You would have to say so. The rest of their challenges take place at home, so this is really going to be, in my opinion, their last big test. They still have Syracuse. Syracuse plays well. They still have Navy, but I think this is their last big test.
Now, Acho, I think you're forgetting their biggest test is themselves. Notre Dame has lost in November the past 5 years in a row, somehow always knocking them out of the playoff contention. When there were good teams that they had, they got upset. When there were bad teams that they had, they got beat by whoever was over there late in the season. Notre Dame has to figure out how to finish strong. They have not finished strong since the 2012 season. If they don't do that, they're going to be upset late in the season in November, and they're going to be on the outside looking in at the playoffs.
JV, you know firsthand what it takes to run this table down the stretch. You know firsthand how hard it is to go undefeated, so I agree with you. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be easy, and the philosophical answer is yes. Notre Dame is Notre Dame's biggest opponent, but as I look on paper, just looking at one team, another team, Virginia Tech is the most talented team Notre Dame will see the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's the same Virginia Tech that lost to Old Dominion. And I don't care if it was 2 weeks ago or 2 years ago. They lost to Old Dominion. So Notre Dame needs to say it's a faceless opponent. For the rest of the season, it's a faceless opponent. We need to execute offensively, defensively. We'll be good to go.
The FPI does say this is the toughest remaining game for Notre Dame. 35% chance they lose this one. We're playing through the whistle here on College Football Live. All right, second down. Number 19 Texas taking on number 9 Oklahoma. Game day is going to be there at the Texas State Fair. Jonathan, start with you on this one. Who needs this win more?
Oklahoma needs this win more, and I'm taking it from the playoff perspective. Oklahoma cannot afford to have one loss in the Big 12. The way the season is shaping out, there are going to be many one-loss teams who will be favored more so than Oklahoma. If you take a Georgia possibly losing in the title game, if you take an LSU possibly only losing to one of either Georgia or Alabama, or you look at Alabama only losing to someone in a title game, Oklahoma will be on the outside looking in because a loss to Texas is nowhere near as credible as a loss to a Georgia, Auburn, Alabama.
I'm saying Texas needs this win more. Why? Because we're still just a month removed from their loss against Maryland. The fans in Austin, I was in Austin this past week, and the fans are at the edge of their seat. They're ready to get hyped. They need one big victory. Now everybody knows the cat's out the bag. USC wasn't that good. TCU was down. But if you beat Oklahoma, Longhorn Nation will go crazy. Tom Herman will ascend to the throne that has been waiting on him. The Texas Longhorns desperately need this win more.
Oh, Acho, that is such a homer answer. If Texas loses, nobody cares. The only Texas fans care. The rest of the country is going to say, oh, Texas lost. So what? Oklahoma, how'd they look? Oh, it looked pretty good. Kyler Murray looked good.
Nobody cares.
I like those guys.
There are 50,000 people in Austin that would care, young man.
Yeah,
50,
well, there's
000.
like 150 million college fans, so they're not going to know that Texas lost, and they're not going to care.
Somebody blow the whistle.
No,
right,
you can't.
It is. Wow,
I'm not blowing the whistle just yet. Let's just say this. If Texas loses, there will be nobody outside of Texas clamoring for Tom Herman to get fired. We know that. That's the truth.
Okay. Got a whistle again? We do the whistle again?
Okay, fine, whistle now.
All right. Okay. All right. There it is. By the way, I'll say this. In terms of what the Big 12 needs, they need Oklahoma to win this game. But long-term wise, the Big 12 needs Texas to start winning this game and being relevant there in the Big 12 and in the national picture. All right, the other top 25 matchup, LSU taking on Florida. Look at LSU's next 4 games. This is kind of their prove-it segment of their schedule. 4 teams in the top 20 of the Football Power Index with ESPN. Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Alabama. Emmanuel, what will their record be in those 4 games?
LSU is going to go 2-2 in those 4 games, but it's not going to be the 2 games you think. I don't think they beat Florida and beat Mississippi State and lose to Georgia and lose to Bama. I think they win 2 of those games, but I think they will pull off an upset against either Georgia or Alabama. LSU is for real this year. That's a gauntlet, but I think LSU is the real deal.
I agree with you, Acho. LSU is for real this year. They will go 3-1, not 2-2. Why? Mississippi State stinks. Why? Florida, they are flat out better team than Florida. Florida takes the ball away at an alarming rate, but LSU takes care of the ball at an alarming rate. They have Georgia and Alabama at home. They are going to beat one of those 2 teams, and I'll go on the record and say it's not going to be Alabama. It will be Georgia, because Georgia decides when they want to play with teams, and LSU is too good athletically to sit there and mess around with for a whole game. They will beat Georgia.
Waiting for the whistle. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it's very jarring. By the way, the FPI says their most likely outcome in those 4 games is 1-3, and they have a better chance of going 0-4 than 4-0. All right, so Dan Mullen, head coach of Florida, looking for his 5th win of the season. 2 other guys who are mentioned for that Florida job, Chip Kelly, Scott Frost, both candidates there for that job. They're still looking for their first win of the season. Look at Nebraska's schedule, again, what they've got upcoming. They're big underdogs against Wisconsin. They're going to Northwestern, Minnesota at home. Thank goodness they rescheduled a game for their bye week. They got Bethune-Cookman October 27th. You look at UCLA, huge underdogs against Washington this week, at Cal, Arizona, Utah. Emmanuel, who wins their first game first, Kelly or Frost?
Here's what we know. They better win those games on October 20th, because those are the only matchups it looks like they have a great chance in winning, a decent chance in winning. Chip Kelly and UCLA, they got Arizona October 20th. We know Arizona can lay an egg. Nebraska, Scott Frost, they got Minnesota October 20th. If those teams don't win those games, we might be looking at a goose egg. I don't know to answer your question. Maybe Frost? Help me out, JV. Help me out.
Well, I tell you what, great minds think alike. I said October 20th is the day for both coaches. They're both going to get the victories because they can't win on the road, and they have just enough skill level for UCLA versus the Arizona team to beat them. Kevin Sumlin will figure out a way to lose that game, and then you go and roll the boat over in Minnesota. Nebraska has just enough talent to beat them as well. So let's just put a big red circle around October 20th for both those coaches. They're finally going to get their first victory on the at home with their new teams.
JV, you and I both know Chip Kelly well. I say we put in the order for balloons now, schedule the delivery for October 20th, and we're just in there. Let's just plan it. Sign, seal, deliver.
I love it. I love it.
If not, a week later there for Nebraska, they do have Bethune-Cookman, as I said, out of the FCS there, October 27th.
Shake, that is so wrong. You're basically saying they're going to lose that game and then win Bethune.
No, I'm just saying, those are facts. That's a gimme. That's why you reschedule that game. You need a bye win, and they've got one, B-U-Y, instead of the B-Y-E week. All right, it's too bad, though, that –